Test, test, test. Wow. All right, it's a little heavy. Test. There we go. That's better. Test, test. Okay. I'll let this charge right here. How many people there? Me and someone else. There we go. Where's his coming from? I'm waiting for this computer to go to sleep so I don't hear the fan. It's the mics are picking it up and it's a hiss. Okay, it just stopped. Let me see. There's something else. The crazy thing is, it might even be a plug-in because, believe it or not, the way plugins are made, when they emulate analog gear, they also emulate the noise. So you for instance, the Fairchild, like the Waves, it's called Pochild. It's an emulation of the Waves compressor, which is about a $40,000 compressor if you can find it. It's probably more like $80,000 now. But it's also a very noisy compressor in that it hisses a lot. So when you turn it on and turn it off, it's like it literally sounds just like one. Like if you have like spectrum analyzers and you analyze the real one versus the plug-in, they're almost identical. They're pretty good. It emulates the noise and everything. And like they have comparisons all over YouTube. This echoes too much. Pass, test. Okay, well, this is still a little. It sounds like this echo sounds like a big kid with some like grown-up teeth, looking like a beaver. That's what just popped in my head. And these headphones stink. Actually, they ain't that bad. But let me check this out real quick. Hold on. I got to get rid of this hiss. It's driving me crazy. Well, I just found it. It's a plugin. I told you, plugins will emulate the noise as well. Holy smokes. Test.
Test. Oh, that's a little heavy.
Test. What I'm actually doing is, well, the hiss is gone. That's the good thing. The hiss is gone. Hold on. Um, Hold on, man. There's a guy. Is it Patrick X? No, it's a dude who's got writing. It's like Japanese writing. Is there something wrong with the system? Well, nothing wrong per se, but there's a hiss. There's like an underlying hiss, and what happens is, you know, plugins are really good. You know, the designers, when they hold on, I got to get out of my own ear. There we go. But plugins are really good, especially the way they make them now. But the problem is they emulate. They almost they're gonna they when they emulate a like a piece of hardware because it's analog. There's noise. You plug it in. You know the current brings noise. Like you can literally hear the electricity running through the machine. That's why you need power conditioners. They clean up the electricity so it's nice, clean, noiseless, quiet electricity. It's just power. There's no noise to it. But that being said, because if you plug it in, you can hear all of the, basically if you're quiet and you plug in anything. If you're quiet and there's no power conditioner, you're quiet. If you listen to it, there's a slight hum to everything. There's a slight hum. The wattage or the voltage is what determines how loud it is or not. The amount of volts going to it. But all of that corny, nerdy stuff being said, in the digital domain or when you're in the box and you're pulling up plugins, guess what? They emulate the sound of the electricity going through like an analog piece of gear. They emulate every single thing. You know what I mean? They emulate the same tone. They emulate the way you can shape it. They emulate that sound and that tone, even to the bad stuff, which, being honest, if I were to buy an API compressor, piece of hardware, API compressor, I would have to contend with that. I would have to contend with the noise. I just don't want to hear it. Right now, I don't have a power conditioner. I mean, they're cheap. The last one I got was like $25. But until then, I have to turn off the compressor that I have, which is what I did. And just, for the sake of, I just don't want to hear a hiss. You know what? I like it too. Okay, good. You can hear me. I like it too, except the noise. The noise. It builds up after a while. Like it's like when your noise floor is right here, your noise level is here, and like the instruments are here. When you start adding stuff, every time you add stuff, you're adding noise, either perceptible or imperceptible. So it goes higher, and then and the music is still there. It doesn't go any further up, so it just goes higher. It stacks on each other, stacks on each other, stacks on each, until you start. The music is here. What you want to hear is here until it starts getting up there. Once it starts getting up there, then it starts sounding fuzzy and like in terms of just music, just like bass, drums, guitar, piano, like you're raising the noise floor, So I like I like a little noise when you have the drum tracks and you have the bass tracks and you have the guitar tracks and you have the vocal track. You have everything. You have the full thing. When you're mixing it down, if you're gonna mix it down to a two channel, like a stereo, a 2 channel, stereo track, that's when I like the noise because that creates a kind of glue. And and it almost it gives a cohesiveness. Like, okay, these, because sometimes you can listen to something and you be like, that don't fit there. Because if your ears are trained enough, you can hear and be like, that's not, like, these were recorded. You could tell it's hodgepodge and patched together. The trick is to mask all that, especially if like nowadays you're flying tracks back and forth, via Gmail or whatever. You want your stuff to sound cohesive. You don't want it to sound like what you know that's that's what makes a professional recording. That's part of what separates the amateurs from the professionals. You know, but individual instruments, I try to keep them as clean as possible because once you start piling on instruments, the noise levels go up, and it's just and it could be a good song. There's very few songs that sounded horrible, but like I'll say this: Thundercats' first 2 albums, whew, they sounded horrible, but they were good. But the production, as time went on, the mixes just got better. Until now, it's kind of weird. It's really, he just don't. He's like, whatever, He's like, just get it out there, which I kind of like that, because it's raw, it's real, and it's raw. But some of his stuff is like them changes. The production is immaculate. The engineering is immaculate in that. But a lot of his stuff, it's like fuzzy. But that's his character. It's got his character. So. I'm sorry, I'm just getting loose. Ugh. Ugh. That the latency is killing me. I can fix it. I just gotta up it to 92. Now it'll sound really good, and it's great for jazz and orchestral music. But 48 is that's good for rock. That's good for hip hop. That's good for a lot of jazz. That's good. Unless you're getting like big band. That's the big giant Woody Herman big band, whatever. Like what's his name? Wynton Marsalis and his orchestra. Like if you're recording that, you got different horn sections. Then it's Yeah, 96. 96K, that's what it is. It's 44, 40, it's 44 1, 48, 96K. And the next one is like 102 or something like that. But yeah, everything else, industry standards, is 48K. And 48K has a certain crunch to it that sounds really good. Like it's a warmth and crunch. 96K, it's very clean and pristine, but it's sterile. And I've worked for years with 96K until this one guy, Colt Caparoon, whatever his name is, a YouTube guy, he kind of challenged it and was like, well, look, this is the industry standard. And his reasoning was the same thing I noticed. And I didn't notice it until he said it. So. Yo, get your sleep, bro. Samir, thank you, Samir. little sloppiness in there. Let my hands, let the blood marinate in my arms. Woo! Simple, but I hate when I hate that stuff when I can do something if I think about it and slow down. And the reason why is because I don't want to have to think about it. That's the whole point. I don't want to think about it. I just want to do it. Check it out. If you see me stop, a lot of times I'll just go. Yo. The reason why I do that really is because no one in the audience is gonna know. They don't know. They think it's just some trickety trick or something like that. Really, it's just a pause. You know, you don't have to play through something all the time. You know, there's a lesson. There's something Herbie Hancock. There's a famous story Herbie told us. He said when it was, the Miles Quintet, it was Tony Williams. I think Tony was 17 at the time playing drums. They used to put like makeup on his upper lip to fake that he had a mustache. Then you had Herbie. Herbie was 19. Miles about 30. He's about 31. And you had Coltrane. This is before Wayne Shorter was playing. Then you had Coltrane. And on bass, Ron Carter, who later on went to work with everybody, including Tribe Called Quest, but Ron Carter. But Herbie was playing solos and he was getting frustrated. So he goes backstage and he asks Miles. He's like, "Hey, Miles, like sometimes I don't know what to play. Like, I don't know what to play." And Miles is like, "Well, I really don't. This is just for effect because I don't like using foul language. Well, I don't give a damn what you do. You sit there and put your finger in your ass all you want. Just play what you feel like." And I was like, he's right. He's right. It doesn't matter. And then he was like, "The audience ain't gonna know. They ain't gonna know they don't know." And I was like, he's right. The audience doesn't know. So but yeah, so a lot of times I'll just stop. If I'm just playing, I use that concept even if I'm just playing. And I've noticed, I've seen like Ronald Bruner do stuff like that. That's probably why he does it. He'll just play something and then just kind of like, so I think he probably does it because of the same reason that Miles Herbie Hancock interview. Because actually, I've seen Michael Brecker, the saxophonist, do it. I've seen a lot of people do it. I've seen Vinny Colaiuta do it too. Right then, I literally was stopping it because I was just like, this is awkward. So something said, keep going. See what you see, stay on the same beat, because it was in my head, but my body wasn't prepared to execute it yet. So I just stopped. And then I was like, okay, as the beat was forming in my head, then I started playing along. Oh man, Herbie Man brings me back to my childhood. Um, Herbie Man is one of the few jazz. Herbie Man popularized jazz flute. You got guys. You got like like even Dave Valentin. Like if not for Herbie Man, there'd be like there's a lot of guys. Like he's Herbie Man is responsible for a lot of flautists, jazz flautists. You know, he defined the sound of jazz in like the late '60s, early '70s. Well, he was one of him and guys like Herbie Hancock and what have you, Tony Williams, Wayne Shorter, and Joe Zawinul with Weather Report. But yeah, Herbie Man, Sergio Mendes was another one. But Sergio Mendes was a little earlier. He was like mid to late '60s. That's where he popped off. Like I think I want like '66. I want to say. That might have been Brazil '66. That's the name of his. That was the name of his band, Brazil '66. So it might have been 1966. And Herb Albert, another person. Yeah, Herb Albert. If not for Albert, you wouldn't have Janet Jackson. All of Janet Jackson stuff was on A&M. Albert stands for Herb Albert. Albert. He's the Albert in the A&M. It was his label. Now, of course, he had a financial partner, but it was his label. Sorry, you guys. The alarm was ringing. That was actually, I don't know how long it was ringing. That's what sucks. Um, that was an Alan Halsworth tune called Spokes with Vinny Colaiuta on drums. I hate that. The speed is easy to build up, but it doesn't matter if it's not accurate and clean. Now, that sounds like that's a lot of notes. It's not hard to play. It's hard to play at a controlled volume. That's where the difficulty lies. Playing it at a controlled volume where every note is clean and clear and the people know exactly what you're doing. If they can't tell what you're doing, then you shouldn't be playing it. And that goes for drums, bass, guitar, piano. I grew up in the age where that's that's like I grew up in that school, you know. Wow, this is really weird. My seat's higher. There we go. That's a little better. just realized why my foot was so slow. I'm on stream. What's up, man? Wait, hold on. Huh? No, man, you want it? Bro, it's cold. Yeah. Where is it? You, bro, dude, that's like leather. That's like shoe leather. Yeah. I mean, if you want it, go ahead, bro. We got, hey. Yo, D. We got cheese and, oh, you know. Yo, didn't Butch Trucks used to play for the Allman Brothers? No, I don't know. I don't know if Butch Trucks played for Leonard Skinner or the Allman Brothers band. I can't remember. Anyway, um, I didn't know who this guy was at first, but he's a really cool guy. He was a drummer. And blonde hair guy, long blonde hair, parted down the middle. He's a little shorter than me. He always played at an open jam spot called the Five Spot. It's downtown Atlanta. And me and him got to be real cool to the point where, like, he was the house drummer and he would come in with brand new cymbals. I remember when he came out with a brand new Gretsch kit, brand new cymbals, pretty much the same one, same ride I got. I think his was like a 21. I have a 22. His hats were um, like 15-inch K custom darks. At the time I had a set of 13-inch K custom darks. So I loved his, and he had a like a dark crash, like an 18-inch dark crash. And I remember playing on the kit. I was like, wow, this is a really nice kit. You're gonna let these buffoons bash on this drum kit, So I'm like, he just set it up, and with the usual band with the bass player and everything. And I just was like, hey, they finished playing, whatever, and I just went up and started playing. And then we went into first we did like a long free jam kind of joint, and then we did a song called "Uptown Down" by Maceo Parker, because there was a horn section in there. That's what I loved about this spot. It was a horn section. Just they were part of the band. But I never heard the song. So the guy's like, yo, man, you know the song Uptown Down by Maceo Parker? I was like, nah. But in my mind, I'm like, well, I know who he is. And he came out of the kind of James Brown era of instrumental music with that tight James Brown. I was like, you told me the tempo. I can figure it out. So the guy just sits there. The trombone player is like, yo, man. I told him, I said, yo, count me in. He's like, 1, 2, 3, and I went into that. Now, we murdered that. We played a 15-minute version of that song. No, it was about a 7-minute version, 7 or 8-minute version, because everybody had to get a solo. I didn't get a solo. I didn't want a solo. But the bass player had a solo. The organist had a solo. The keyboardist had a solo. Yeah, there was an organist and a keyboardist, and there was a percussionist next to me. There's a 4-piece horn section, a baritone saxophone, a tenor saxophone, a trumpet, and a trombone. All those guys had solos. So it's like a 7 or 8-minute song. I'm playing, we're killing. After a while, we just take over and like everybody just kind of like weeds out. He's at the bar drinking. I'm doing his gig. I'm doing his house gig. He's at the bar drinking. So I'm still in my mind like, he must got it like that, because this is a really nice kit with really nice cymbals. I ain't letting nobody play on my joint. I'll give you the old dusty ones, the 8 Bs, but I'm not giving you nah, I'm not giving you the special sauce. That's my sauce. You might break it up and bust up my stuff. I don't know how you hit. I talked to him later on at night. He's like, yo, man, you're the only person, he said, man, I was like, yo, that's a nice kid. Like, yo, you really shouldn't let, I think that's what it was. I was like, man, I said that kid is beautiful. At the time, I had two Gretsch kids. I had a little small one and a big 7-piece one. So I was like, yo, man, I love Gretches. I still do. I was like, I love Gretches. But I'll be honest, bro. I wouldn't have put that up there. He was like, oh, no. He's like, I just set it up to see how it would do good in this room because they always did a lot of gigs in there. He said, you're the only person that comes here that I would trust playing it. I was like, in my mind, I was like, dang. It's weird because it's like, oh, wow, he thinks that highly of me? Okay, amen. Whatever. So the house bassist who actually ended up playing for Fork, when what's his name, the bass player for Snarky Puppy, when he left Fork, my boy actually took his place. So he comes up to me. He's like, you know who Sonny is? I'm like, no. He's like, Butch Trucks. I'm like, oh, snap. So he's like, yeah, man. The guy's Dwayne. I think it was the Allman Brothers. Cause his name is Dwayne Trucks. His brother's the guitarist, Derek Trucks. They look exactly alike. I didn't know. So now he plays with his brother Derek Trucks. But yeah, he's a really cool dude, man. Who is really, I mean, I know he plays they play like Southern rock, but really he's an incredible jazzist. He's an incredible jazzist. Wow, that's kind of weird. He's an incredible jazz player, incredible jazz drummer. Like, really incredible jazz. Like, ridiculous. Like, intimidatingly ridiculous. That was a little story time. Yo, I got a story for you. Speaking of stories, I met Snarky Puppy before they were famous. Um, it's the same spot, the 5 spot. There was a few of us there. There's few of us can tell this story. There was like, cause the open jam night at the 5 spot was on a Tuesday night. And it was great because nobody wants to go out on a Tuesday. We did. It was like a little, it was a little hidden gem, of Atlanta. So I see Janet Jackson and Jill Scott. This drummer played for Earth, Wind & Fire, Janet Jackson, and Jill Scott. Matter of fact, he got a baby by Jill Scott. He's a professor at Berkeley right now up in Boston. But he walks in to the 5 spot, sits at the bar. The bar's on the opposite side of the stage. I'm like, John, what up, man? I mean, that's his name, Lil John Roberts, ridiculous drummer. I'm like, John, what up, man? He's like, what's going on, man? I'm like, okay. In my mind, I ain't saying nothing, but in my mind, I'm like, your green mohawk is what's going on, but okay, whatever. He's like, hey, bro, you ever hear Snarky Puppy? I'm like, no. I said the name. In my mind, I was like, the name sound kind of corny, but I trust his judgment. He said, you'll see. That's it. You'll see. I order Beck's. I'm sitting there, and I see dudes filing in with their instruments. I see a percussionist setting up. I see one guitarist come in, then another guitarist come in, and the drummer's setting up in a little corner, and the bass player's there. And I'm like, okay, they got a full setup. Like, all right, I see. And then I see the horn players come in. I'm like, oh, snap. I don't know if you guys ever saw that Pioneer or whatever commercial where the dude has the speaker and he's sitting in the recliner and his hair is blowing back. that's what it was like seeing them live. If I had hair, it would have been like it was breathtakingly ridiculous live. They and this wasn't Spud Seawright. Spud came later. Spud ain't the original drummer. This was another dude. He was silly. I was like, eh. I heard it. I was like, he's the weak point. I was like, I could do better than that. He's a weak point. He the weak one. And then later on, I'm kicking it. It's like 3, 4 in the morning, something like that. I'm kicking it with him. I'm like, yeah, what's up? So then what happens is we're talking, and I'm talking to the guitarist and not Lettieri, the other guy. We're talking. I'm like, man, y'all sound great. And what's his name, the bassist? I can't remember. He's asking, yo, man, where can I get some gigs? I was like, sheesh. I started naming spots. And then, I was like, you can go here, you can go, Apache, you can go a lot of places. So what happens is, after that, I'm talking to the guitarist. I'm like, yo, man, where you from? He's like, I'm from Jersey. He's like, what? I said, I'm from Jersey. I said, what part of Jersey? He said, oh, I'm from Brick. I said, what? I said, I'm from Blonde Branch. He was like, what? I said, yeah, man. I said, who do you know in Brick? He was like, I don't know. I said, musicians. What musicians do you know? I said, because I know a couple musicians. I said, as a matter of fact, I know a dude, my man, he was like maybe 17. He was from Brick. And he was our guitarist, And at the time, this kid was insane. He was a little skinny white kid, but he was a disgusting monster on guitar. And his timing was ridiculous because he started off as a drummer. He would turn me on to stuff. He'd be like, man, hey, you ever hear this? I'm like, what? He was like 17 years old, a senior in high school. Got to meet his parents and everything, his siblings, real good kid. So I'm like, yo, you know this dude? I said, you from Brick? I said, so you probably know Jimmy Farkas. He was like, Jimmy Farkas? He said, yeah, I know him. He said, we went to school together. He was like, man, he graduated like a year before me. He said, as a matter of fact, we were roommates. I said, yeah. I said, then you probably know about the band he used to be in. He was like, that was you guys? I said, yeah. He was like, oh, snap. He would play like cassettes of y'all's like rehearsals, man. You guys are ridiculous. What are you doing? I was like, nothing at the time, But it was weird. It was a small world. And then I never really thought anything about it. I was just like, okay, these guys are great, whatever. I ain't gonna say 18 months. But you kind of know, I knew they were gonna be like ridiculous. But I want to say probably like a year, they really started gaining momentum. When I say gaining momentum, people were like, get out the way, give them what they want. I know in Atlanta, that's how it was, But it's wild seeing guys like that or groups like that, like being on the ground floor of it and seeing it before anybody knows about it, And then it's like, oh, the legendary such and such. And it's like, wow, I remember before that. And this was like '08. It's like '08. No. This is like 20. Okay, '08. It's like 2010, 2011. My oldest son was like 2. No, he was 3. He was 3. Because when he was 3, my younger son was born. So he was, and we had moved. Okay, we moved in the house we're in now. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm really doing this because I don't know. I think um I think you learn what you learn for everybody else. You don't learn it for you. Of course, there's an intrinsic value to life experience and knowledge. So, of course, it's just in and of itself, experience, wisdom, and just insight is going to be fruitful for you. But I don't believe you gain it for yourself. You're going to gain something from it because of its value, but you gain it for other people to share it with other people. And if you don't share it with other people, the universe, God, Yahweh, Jehovah, Buddha, Confucius, although that's an Eastern philosophy, Ahura Mazda, whoever you believe in, they're not going to give it back to you. You know, Ram, Vishnu, whoever, Krishna, whoever. They're not going to give it, Alegba, whoever. Trust me, I studied a lot of religions just because. But whoever you listen to, if you don't give, the universe or whoever will not give it back to you. It's just, as a matter of fact, it's kind of like it's a natural law. You know, it's a natural law. You know, people aren't willing to give to people that are stingy. If a stingy person is in need, people are less willing to give that stingy person a financial helping hand than they are to give people who are always giving and always generous. That it's a natural law. It is what it is, you know. And I believe I know a lot because I share a lot, and I really could care who you want to take whatever I got, take it. I don't care. But if you play drums and I see what you're doing, I'm gonna take it from you. It's fair trade. Fair trade ain't no robbery. You know what I mean? Like I learn a lot of what I learned from everybody else. I just invert it and make it my own. You know, I just take it, put my own stank on it, or even guitarists. I feel like as a drummer, I know the most about guitarists and bassists than any drummer I know. Like I could school guitarists and bassists on guitars and basses. I turn other basses on to bassists. Like I turn other guitarists on to different guitars. Like I'm notorious for that actually. You know, notorious. You know what I mean? Like guitars be like, hey man, who should I listen to? Oh, you can listen to so and so, such and such. That's just how I am. But the reason why is because I look at other musicians and first of all, I use their rhythms. And I also learn from their perspective, how they approach their instrument, you know. You can learn a lot from, studying other instrumentalists that don't play the same thing you play. That was a Alan Holdsworth tune, non-brewed condiments. But it just got good to me. So I went a bit off course. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, ba, ba. Uh, uh, That song is great. It's like a Alan Holdsworth classic. It's off Actavacron, which, if you're a Trekkie, you'll know what that is. Sloppy. $3.30. I'll be back. Go hang out with the kids. I hate when I got a burp and it's stuck right there. All right, there it is. Yo, what's going on with my feed? There it is. There it is. Okay. Yo, here it keeps saying there's only one person there. There it's more. I don't know why. Oh well. Look. Oh.